Today on Time About the Movies, Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan starred in the latest buddy cop action comedy, but this time directed by Kevin Smith, in a film that he didn't write. We're going to take a look at Cop Out, and we've also got Timothy Olyphant leading the charge of another George A. Romero remake, this time The Crazies. February 26, 2010. We have gone past the dumping weeks of the first part of the year. This is usually when the studios put out the stuff they're proud of. Are they proud of these two movies? Only one way to find out. Next on Time About the Movies.
Pictures, the studio that brought you the acclaimed police dramas, Dirty Harry, Training Day, and The Departed, comes a film that carries on the tradition. I'm going on the cover.
Doubtful.
Yes, I'm doubtful.
I already made my decision.
Hello? The president is black now. We make decisions.
You know, there's a right way of doing police work. Then there's a way you two do it. Now's a good time to do something. Now that is what I'm talking about.
This is the stuff that my mother used to tell my friends about. My son is a genius. My son is a genius. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
What's going on?
Somebody just broke into your house.
I'm gonna go take care of the son of a bee myself.
Oh, man.
You gonna smoke somebody?
Put the gun down.
I know my rights.
Lady, put the freaking gun down on the ground right now. Take your son across the freaking street and say until he's gonna get you. Jeez, see.
This February.
Come on, Jim.
I'll shoot you right in the face.
I'll shoot you in the face.
What? Shut up. Stop repeating. Stop repeating.
Come on.
Shut up, man. You see what he's doing, Jim? Bruce Willis, my partner, smarter than that, man. Why did you smack me?
I was in the moment, and the moment said smack you.
Tracy Morgan. Policia.
Ayúdame.
We need to know what happened to her.
Tuve 2 días en una cajuela encerrada. No sabía qué hacer.
And Sean William Scott.
This is police brutality. Not yet. Hey, keep going, man. I'll cheat. Okay, here we go. Come on.
Cop Out.
Knock.
No. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 Hell no. 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 I refuse. No. No.
Who's there?
Comedy.
And welcome to Time About the Movies, where we're taking a look at the two films released on February 26, 2010. As I said before, this is usually when the studios start to put the stuff out they're proud of. Whether or not the movie is turning out to be good is too soon to tell. And I can definitely tell you this first film is nothing that the studio should be proud of. Cop Out. This is the only film directed by Kevin Smith that he did not write. So that's an interesting sign right there. This is a film where, Kevin Smith was starting to make more mainstream stuff. It mostly started with Clerks 2, which wasn't really a mainstream movie, but it was a sequel to the film that started it all. It was released more wider than his usual releases are, and it was a big success. Then you had Zack and Miri, which was his Judd Apatow's comedy, which was his most mainstream film at that point, which had gone on to become a success as well. And now here you have Cop Out, which is easily his most mainstream movie. It's released by Warner Brothers. It has two of the biggest stars of their respective genres, Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. He's got a cast of relatively well-known people here. This is not taking place in the View Askew universe at all. This is Kevin Smith literally taking the script from somebody else. In fact, two writers who we recently just talked about one of their really bad stuff on the website, and that was, of course, Gary the Rat, which was not a great show by any means necessary, and we have the only film that they have ever written. But, Kevin Smith has made a couple of mainstream films before this, as I said before, so, you would think that maybe, just maybe, that there was a chance that this could turn out well for him overall, but, needless to say that this did not go well. Before we get to the plot itself, though, we have to take a look at the behind-the-scenes problems of the movie, because there are a lot of them, specifically between Kevin Smith and Bruce Willis. In fact, on a 2011 episode of WTF with Mark Maron, he expressed deep frustration with Willis's behavior on set, saying the actor refused to participate in promotional activities and contributed to a difficult work environment. And in contrast, he praised Tracy Morgan's enthusiasm and commitment. A talent representative described Smith's directing style as disengaged, claiming he spent most of his time behind the monitor and did not interact much with his cast. He later defended his approach, attributing his productivity to marijuana use, which he claimed to be a central part of the creative process after observing how Seth Rogen did it with Zack and Miri Make a Porno. There was also a rumbling that, there was a time when they were on set and Kevin Smith just really... Kevin Smith and Bruce Willis just really got it into each other. You ever see that episode of The Office where Stanley, tells Michael Scott, "Did I stutter?" And that really just takes Michael aback. And there's a point towards the end where he looks like where Michael's like about ready to beat Stanley's ass, and he's just like, everybody out of the room except Stanley, and it's just like. That's what I get the feeling that was what's going on the set here. There was a lot of problems I had heard about with this movie in general, but. After Willis retired in 2022 because of his aphasia, Smith did actually apologize for his past criticisms of the actor, and so at least it did come around in the end to, them making amends pretty much. So there's that, but what about the movie itself? Clearly, the movie should be at least somewhat interesting to see what Kevin Smith can do without a script, right? Not so much. Jimmy and Paul, played by Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan, are two suspended cops working for the NYPD, and they're celebrating their 9th year as partners. And Jimmy's daughter, Michelle Trachtenberg, sadly, who's no longer with us anymore, getting married, and the price for the wedding is close to $50,000. And Paul is worried that his wife is cheating on him, so he sets up a video camera in a teddy bear, while Jimmy is selling his 1952 Andy Pafko baseball card to pay for the wedding. Paul is calling his wife. However, Jimmy is robbed by Dave, played by Sean William Scott, who steals his car and Paul's favorite gun. So yeah, the first thing you notice right from the bat here is that this script is all over the goddamn place. Like, seriously, this movie is all over the place. There is not a central plot line in this movie that makes any sense whatsoever. It doesn't even feel like a real buddy cop movie. It just feels like, let's take snippets of these other movies that we could have had. Like, I really get the feeling that this whole idea started off as like a spin-off to The Hangover, where, two guys get in a situation where they're trying to sell off an expensive item, and then this guy takes it, and it's part of like a bigger crime operation, something like that. Like, I feel like this movie took bits and pieces from other scripts in the WB library and just said, "We've got a movie here, let's make it." So that's your first mistake right there. Second mistake is, the chemistry between Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan sucks. These two are really good actors, and they can work out, and they can do a lot of good, funny stuff overall, but man, they have no chemistry in this movie whatsoever. This is the definition of how not to make a buddy cop movie, and it just fails on every single level. Like, this is unbelievable how bad this movie is. The jokes are terrible. They throw in these pointless references to Bruce Willis's work. I mean, there's literally a scene where Tracy Morgan is in an interrogation room, Bruce Willis is in the behind the glass, and and Tracy Morgan's just like, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!" And Bruce Willis is just like, "Oh, I don't even know what that is." It's just like, funny. You're really, really effing funny when you're really not. Like, if there's anything I can say to the movie is that I laughed a lot, but I laughed at how terrible it is. I mean, this movie is a disaster. I could not believe that this movie was as bad as it is. This is absolutely horrible. Horrible. I mean, this is an abysmal mess of a movie. And you would think that Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan would have had to have known that the script was terrible and try to go through with it and see if they could get something going here, but there's just nothing there at all. And you could just tell that this film, Kevin Smith did not give a fuck about making this movie, because it does not feel like a Kevin Smith movie at all. You could put any other director on this movie and it would not make a difference at all. Like, you could put somebody like you could have put Martin Scorsese on this, and really it wouldn't have been any different. Like, you could have had Todd Phillips. Any director in Hollywood could have come in here and basically have done this movie, and it would have not made much of a difference at all. Like, I don't even think the greatest directors of all time could have saved this movie. That's how bad this is. There's just nothing good about this film. The plot makes no sense. There's way too many subplots in here. There's characters that go absolutely nowhere. The only character you really do get invested in, of all people, is Anna Claudia Taloncon, who you see in the trailer there. I'm sorry, not Anna Claudia Taloncon. I'm thinking of the girl from One Miss Call, but no, this is the girl from Nacho Libre, Ana de Regueira. Like, she's the only one in this movie that you really give a shit about, honestly. Like, she's the only one who you look here and it's just like, wow, I'm actually getting something from this person here, because I don't like anybody else in this movie. And this has a stacked cast, too. I mean, Adam Brody's also in here. Kevin Pollak. Sean William Scott is in this movie. I'll get to him in just a second. Jason Lee. Rashida Jones plays Tracy Morgan's wife. How do you misuse Rashida Jones? I mean, come on. Like, they misused Michelle Trachtenberg. They misused Jim Norton. Mark Consuelos is in here. Like, Adrian Martinez, Guillermo Diaz. Like, this is unbelievable how this movie just completely is just devoid of anything of noteworthiness. The only other character in here I kind of liked was Sean William Scott. At times, yes, he could be funny, but he was also the most annoying character ever because he just would not shut up. I mean, he just kept going and going. And he does these stupid things like, you know, he's a parkour guy. He's good at climbing walls. There's literally a scene where he hits his head on a stone wall, and you think he's dead, but not in this movie. No. He comes back in the post-credit sequence because we got to have him in there for the inevitable sequel that's going to get made, because this is going to make a ton of money, and it didn't. It didn't make any money at all. Okay, technically it did. It is still Kevin Smith's highest-grossing movie as a filmmaker. It cost like $30 million to make and brought in $55 million worldwide. So technically it was a hit, but Kevin Smith never went back to doing mainstream work after this. I mean, the next thing he did was mostly going back to his roots with independent movies and taking some chances. Not all of them were great. Red State, Tusk, Yoga Hosers, the 4:30 movie. He went back to the View universe for Clerks 3, which it's probably his best overall film in the 15 years in between now and that Cop-Out, but this movie is a mess, man. Like, this is no doubt the worst thing Kevin Smith has directed, and that's saying a lot because Kevin Smith has made some pretty bad movies, but this is the bottom of the barrel for him. This is an ungodly mess of a movie. Avoid Cop-Out like the plague. Just not a good movie. Not a good movie at all. So let's see if we can turn the tide with our last movie here, and that is The Crazies, the remake of The Crazies.
All things wise and wonderful, and our Lord loves them all.
Is he dead? Crazies, rated R, starts.
This was based off, of course, of George A. Romero's 1973 film, and you have a fictional Iowa town that becomes afflicted by a biological agent that turns those infected into violent killers, essentially zombies, even though technically they're not really zombies, but they basically kind of move around like zombies overall. But this was directed by Brett Eisner, whose last movie he made was Sahara, which I liked it. I don't think it was as bad as most people made it out to be, but this film overall is probably his best overall film as a director because it does for The Crazies what the Dawn of the Dead remake in 2004 did for the original Dawn of the Dead. It's a movie that is modernizing the story for a new generation, and you got really good people who know what they're doing and aren't just simply doing a retread of the original film. They're bringing a new element to it. And I thought they did a pretty good job with it overall. You've got a good cast that includes Timothy Olyphant, Rhoda Mitchell, Joe Anderson, Daniel Panabaker. A good cast overall here. Some pretty good scares overall, too. The makeup work overall is top-notch. I mean, these are the same guys that did stuff like... These are the guys that did Quarantine, the 2008 film, which was okay, even though the marketing spoiled the ending for you. But, I mean, they did a pretty good job of making these things look terrifying. And they do look legitimately terrifying, like something out of 30 Days of Night. But, yeah, it surprisingly works. It's actually one of the few horror remakes that actually really does go all in on it. And I think because it was released by an independent company like Overture Films and not a major studio like Sony, who probably would, if they had it, probably would have made it PG-13 like they did with Prom Night, which coincidentally these same makeup people did as well. Excuse me, but no, this movie is a lot better than I think a lot of people would have given it credit for. And it's probably one of their best overall films from Overture Films. I mean, this is probably high up there with some of their best films overall. It's a really good film. Definitely one of the better horror remakes out there, and one that kind of gets overlooked. Nobody really ever talks about it that much anymore, but it's one I definitely say give it a watch. It's definitely much better than I think you would give it credit for. So, Yeah, Crazies is what I'd recommend. And so with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and we're moving right along here. We're getting into March on the next episode with 3 notable movies, including Tim Burton's remake of Alice in Wonderland, the first of the many Disney live-action remakes we're going to see from this point going forward, but also the first digital 3D release after Avatar, and trying to see if they could capture the same magic overall, which they did at first, but we'll talk more about that on the next episode. We'll also take a look at Brooklyn's Finest, the ensemble drama featuring Wesley Snipes among the cast in there, and actually one of his few roles he did after he got arrested for tax evasion. But we also have The Secret of Kellis, which went on to become the nominee for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars this particular year. In fact, I think it was about, I don't know if it was this weekend the Oscars were held, or... Yes, I think it was. Yes, it was that weekend. When most people can get to go see it before you can see if it wins an Oscar for animated feature. It didn't, but it was still a really good movie. We'll take a look at all 3 of them coming up on the next episode. That's coming up tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button. Hopefully this time I got the order correct. And also check out the last episode I did, as well as the previous episode, as well as the playlist of the other episodes for this particular year. And also hit that notification bell because you get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. And later on Time About the Movies Flashback, a double feature this week as we take a look at the 3 films of March 27th and April 3rd. Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger, Bruce Willis again, this time in a much better movie than Cop Out, Blake Edwards' Blind Date. We have The Hanoi Hilton, and also Police Academy 4's Citizens on Patrol. So we at least get one good comedy to talk about in that set there. Time About the Movies Flashback coming up as soon as I'm done posting this, but in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.